The following video was recorded around 2:40 a.m. when a man wakes up alone in his dark bedroom and quickly notices something's wrong. The cupboard door across the room is open, and the light he always leaves on as a warning has gone out. He explains this quietly in a hushed and clearly frightened voice, saying he covers that light while he sleeps so the glare doesn't hit his eyes, but he keeps it on specifically so he knows when what he calls the haunting hour has begun. Tonight, it's off, and that alone tells him something has already started. He keeps the camera trained on the dark doorway at the far end of the room, barely moving, barely breathing. Watch.
Why is the cupboard open? The lights are off. You see, I normally keep that light on because that's how I get to know the haunting has begun or not. And that's why I've actually covered the lights so that it doesn't glare on my eyes while I'm sleeping. The cupboard is open right now. I'm alone in the room. It's at the door. Stop it! Stop it, please! Go fuck yourself, Jerry. Go fuck yourself. Shit. I'm not gonna stay here.
What starts as an uneasy silence erupts into something far more aggressive. Loud, metallic banging striking the door repeatedly, then a door handle rattling with violent force, the kind of sound that doesn't leave much room for a rational explanation. He shouts at it to stop, pleads with it, and then for just a few seconds, it does. The silence that follows is almost worse than the noise, and then a child's voice comes out of the dark, soft, clear, and completely disembodied, saying, "Daddy?" He doesn't hesitate. He screams back at it, calling it Jerry by name, which means this isn't the first time something has spoken to him like this. A loud crash follows immediately, as if whatever is in there responded to being called out. He scrambles out of bed and runs down the hallway toward the front door, not stopping once. Many believe mimicry is one of the most disturbing tools a negative presence can use, borrowing a voice that bypasses logic and hits somewhere much deeper. So, what exactly is Jerry, and why does it know what to say? Now, in this next clip, a woman who works in an emergency room starts noticing something she can't explain during one of her overnight shifts. A vital signs monitor in an empty room keeps powering on by itself and displaying readings that, according to every rule of how that equipment works, simply shouldn't be possible. She'd already reset the monitor, turned it off, confirmed no patients were assigned to it. Watch.
So there's nobody in this room. The leads are against the wall. And that's what it's reading.
The monitor is showing a heart rate, 56 beats per minute at first, then slowly climbing, then dropping down into the 40s before the leads off alarm triggers. She pans the camera down to show you the leads hanging loose against the wall, not attached to anything. There's nobody in this room, she says. The leads are against the wall, and that's what it's reading. Some believe hospitals hold residual energy from patients who pass there, something that imprints on the equipment itself. Others aren't so sure. What exactly was that monitor picking up? The following clips were all recorded by the same man, and taken together, they paint a picture of something building. Something that started with a strange sound in a dark attic and kept getting worse no matter what he did. In the first video, he's out in what appears to be a shed or garage during the day, working on tools, when he starts hearing something coming from a closet in the back, one that leads up into an attic through a fixed wooden ladder. He openly admits he's never been up there, not once since he bought the house. He's clearly unsettled even before he opens that door. Watch.
You can believe me or not, I don't care, but listen to this. I'm out in the shed, working on tools. Listen, if I hear it again, dude, I swear to God, there's something up in this attic, man. I'm not getting up in here and shit. Do you hear that? Dude, oh my God, bro. Oh my God, man. There's something in this neighborhood, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I don't know what to do in a situation like this. Do you hear this shit, man? This thing was built before I bought this house, man. I've never gone up here one time. What the f was that, man? There's stuff up here. Left from the previous owner. Oh. Oh my God, dude. Oh my.
Twice, from somewhere above, a high-pitched wailing sound rises out of the darkness, something between a cat meowing and a baby crying. He shuts the door, opens it again, hears it a second time, and then, against every instinct, he climbs up anyway. The moment the camera breaches the attic floor, the sound hits again, close, sharp, and this time almost forming a word. He drops the camera and the video cuts. For a lot of viewers, that specific quality of the sound is what stuck with them. It's too structured to be wind, too close to be a stray animal on the roof. Some people pointed to the possibility of a trapped animal. Cats in particular are known to find their way into attic spaces and produce sounds that can genuinely unnerve people in an enclosed space. But others weren't so quick to explain it away, especially given what came next. In the second clip, he's back. Same shed, same attic, same setup. And this time, he tells the camera he's already been out there and heard more noises since. He makes his way to that same dark opening and calls out into the black. Listen closely.
So if you watch my first video, if you believe it or you don't, that's fine. But I have been hearing some noises up in the attic in my shed. People told me to be quiet. You try to do this. But I've been out here, already heard some noises, so. People said it could be raccoons and shit. So, if there's raccoons or pigeons, I don't. Hey, is anybody up here? Is anybody up here? Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
When he asks, "Is anybody up here?" something answers. A loud bang hits back from the darkness almost immediately. Sharp, deliberate, like a response. He asks again. And then, from deep inside that unlit space, something releases a guttural, multi-toned roar that doesn't match any common animal sound. He runs. That sound is the detail that split viewers most. Skeptics argued it could be a large raccoon or even a fisher cat, an animal notorious for producing shockingly aggressive and non-human vocalizations. But the way the bang responded directly to his question, the apparent call and response quality of it, is the part that's harder to rationalize away, because random animal noise doesn't typically time itself to what a person just said. By the third visit, he's back with his phone's flashlight on this time, and you can tell he's been losing sleep over this. His knees are shaking before he even gets to the ladder. He pushes the camera up into the attic and calls out a third time. Watch closely.
All right, you guys don't believe me, and that's fine. I've been out here again trying to organize these tools. I'm going to show you what I've heard up there, and I've seen something moving. So you can believe me or you don't have to. I don't care, but watch this shit. My knees, I'm literally shaking. If you guys... All right. How do I turn the light on this? All right, I got the light on. Listen to this. Listen to this. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Is anybody up here? Is anybody up here? Oh my God. Is anybody up here? Hey, is it? Oh my God!
On the attic floor, a small metal object slides several inches with no visible cause. Then, deeper in the space, a dark container near the back moves, and a solid, humanoid figure rises from behind it, silhouetted against a faint light at the far end. It holds there for a moment, then lunges. He screams and the camera goes down. That figure is what the entire comment section fixated on. Some people immediately called it a person, someone squatting in the attic, possibly a trespasser who had been living up there undetected, which honestly might be the most disturbing explanation of all. Others pointed to the shape and the way it rose, too abrupt, too still before it moved, and went somewhere else entirely. In paranormal communities, the idea of an entity that occupies enclosed, liminal spaces like attics and crawl spaces has a long history. Some traditions describe these as threshold guardians, presences that are drawn to the boundary between lived space and forgotten space. Whether or not you buy that framing, the figure in that attic is not easy to dismiss. That changed everything. Then came his Ring camera. He shares a clip from his property at dusk, showing a dark, indistinct shape near the tree line at the edge of the yard, and the audio that came with it is unlike anything in the earlier clips.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Look at this video. But I have no words for whatever that noise was. And where the fuck is my Ring camera? I just got that today. Dude. Thoughts? Comments? Man, I'm almost speechless.
A series of guttural, wet-sounding grunts and wheezing roars erupts from the direction of the woods. His dog, heard barking in the background the entire time, is frantic. And then the Ring camera itself is physically grabbed or knocked from its position, the view lurching violently before the footage cuts. He comes back on camera afterward looking genuinely shaken, asking where his camera even went. The sounds from the tree line don't match the attic vocalizations exactly. They're heavier, more animal. But the pattern of something responding to his presence, then making physical contact, lines up in a way that's uncomfortable to ignore. Some viewers familiar with Dogman or Bigfoot encounter reports pointed to the vocalizations as consistent with those cases. Others weren't ready to go that far and suggested a large territorial animal, possibly a bear. But a bear doesn't knock a security camera off its mount with apparent intent. And whatever had been in that attic didn't behave like a bear either. The most recent clip in the series brings a different kind of dread. It's 5 in the morning, pitch dark, and he's in a room near a window he left open in the hallway. Listen closely.
Listen to me right now. It is 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, and I hear something coming out of my window. Shit. Oh my god, I had the light on. There is something walking around outside of my window.
Seriously, did you hear that? Rewind it if you didn't. What was that? I was in my room down the hallway and I left the den window open and I was hearing like walking and twigs. It did not sound like normal. And I was like, shit, I left the window open. And that's what I heard. Hold on, there's more.
I could hear it down the hallway. You hear that? Where is it coming from? I can't see it. Goddamn.
Could I be blowing this out of proportion? I mean, possibly, but like I genuinely heard something. Listen to it, rewind it, and turn it up and tell me if you didn't hear something too. You know, and mind you, that was at 5 o'clock in the morning.
2 soft, deliberate taps land on the glass or wall from outside. Then, immediately after, a raspy, disembodied voice whispers what sounds unmistakably like, "Come here." He cuts to a daytime debrief in his car to explain what he was hearing. Walking, twigs, movement near the window, and then the nighttime footage resumes and a prolonged scratching sound begins along the exterior wall, like something with claws is dragging itself along the outside of the house. He whispers that he can hear it moving down the hallway. He can't see anything through the screen. That whispered voice is the detail that most people couldn't shake because the sounds in the attic were strange, but they were sounds. A voice is something else. It implies awareness, something that knew he was on the other side of that window and wanted him to open it. Whether that's a person, an animal that has learned patterns, or something that has been circling this property for longer than any of these videos have been rolling. I'll leave that to you to decide. But what I can tell you is that across all 5 of these clips, the activity hasn't stayed in one place and it doesn't seem to be stopping. The following video was recorded inside a family's home. A quiet, carpeted bedroom, a floor mirror against the wall, soft light coming through a sheer curtain on the far side of the room. A toddler girl, no older than 2 or 3, is standing with her back to her mother's camera, singing softly to herself, completely at ease, swaying, lost in her own little world. For about 30 seconds, nothing feels wrong at all. Then, it does. Watch.
What's wrong?
Mommy, what's here?
No one's here. What happened?
It's cute.
You scared?
But dear, I still, I'm more
Mid-song, she just stops, turns her head slowly toward the curtain, and something in her body language shifts in a way you don't expect from a child that age. She turns to face the camera, her expression serious, and tells her mother she's scared. Then she points directly at the corner near that curtain window and says there's someone over there. The mother confirms no one else is in the room. Many believe young children, especially toddlers, are more attuned to things adults simply can't perceive. Others think it's imagination, but that shift, from singing to frozen to pointing, happens in seconds, and it's hard to explain away. What do you think she saw? Now, in this next clip, a young woman is resting inside her apartment late at night when something in her room sends her into a full sprint out of the building, and she doesn't stop until she's outside on the street, gasping, hands shaking, camera rolling. Watch.
Oh my god, I think there was something in my room. I don't know.
Once she's outside, she finally stops, and that's when she turns the camera up toward a second-story window, her window, where something is standing in the light, unnaturally tall and walking around the room like it owns the place. Some viewers suggest it could be a trick of perspective, shadows stretching across the room, furniture distorting under light. But that explanation struggles to account for the movement, the way the figure moves, the way it carries a form that doesn't break apart like light usually would. Others lean toward a more paranormal explanation, suggesting it could be something tied to the apartment itself, possibly the presence of a former occupant, something that remained behind and now occupies the space in a way that overlaps with the living. But even that theory raises questions, because the height of the figure doesn't quite align with something familiar or human, making it feel less like a lingering presence and more like something entirely different. And that's where the discomfort settles in, because whatever she ran from didn't follow her out. It stayed behind, moving inside her apartment as if it had every right to be there, but with no further updates and no explanation that confirms what she saw or what remained in that room after she left. This encounter continues to sit in that space between possibility and uncertainty, with no clear answer in sight. The following video was recorded by an overnight caregiver who'd been noticing something strange in the home where she worked. Every night, around the same time, sounds would start moving through the house. Shuffling, creaking, the kind of noises that made it impossible to stay asleep. Now, this particular home had a female patient who, according to her medical situation, doesn't walk. So when the sounds kept coming back, she decided to do something about it. She pretended to fall asleep, hid her phone beneath the covers near the couch, and let it record. The room stays dark, and for a while, nothing seems out of place until something, or in this case, someone appears in the hallway. Watch. A woman emerges from the far corner of the hallway, hunched forward at the waist, feet planted apart, completely still, staring directly toward where she's lying. She doesn't move. The caregiver says she stayed like that for over an hour. Many viewers believe what they're seeing is something that goes well beyond a medical condition. Others aren't sure what to believe, but that image, that stillness, is hard to explain away. Now, in this next clip, a mother named Cora is dealing with something that's been shaking her household for a while now. Her young daughter has been suffering from night terrors so severe that the family has decided to move. It's the middle of the night, just past 2:42 a.m., and after her daughter woke up screaming in distress, Cora got out of bed to walk her back to her own room. The child is quiet now, but that silence feels heavier than the crying did. As Cora follows her daughter down the dark hallway and into the bedroom, she notices something that stops her mid-sentence. Her daughter has gone completely still, staring at the far wall without saying a word, then starts to cry. Watch.
I'm scared.
Scared? Are we scared, baby? Come on, you're a big girl. Come on, big girl. You're a big girl. It's okay. There's the vent right there, baby. See? The vent pushes the door. You're fine, okay? Are you a big girl? Feel scared, just remember. Baby Lenny's here, Mommy's here. We're all gonna be together in the same house. It's gonna be okay. Let's go to bed. What's wrong, Cora? Sweetie, what are you afraid of? You're scaring me, honey. I don't see anything.
The window suddenly closed violently, and there was no wind, no storm, or anything else that could explain the force. Many viewers point out that the child seemed to already know something was wrong before it happened, standing frozen and staring directly at that window for several seconds beforehand. Others think she'd sensed it all night. But you be the judge. The following video was recorded by a man working a night shift at what appears to be an industrial or commercial facility, and from the very first few seconds, something about the way he's filming makes it clear he already knows he isn't alone. He's shooting from a hidden position, wedged behind a door frame, camera trembling in his hands. Watch. A dark humanoid silhouette can be seen in the window frame. Head and shoulders, clearly shaped like a person, holds for roughly 2 seconds, then snaps back and disappears. Whatever he just saw, he's seen it behave this way before, and that alone makes this unsettling in a way a single random anomaly never could be. Some viewers think it's a person hiding and taunting him, but others point out the figure's movement is too fluid, too deliberate, and that the darkened shape doesn't quite match the proportions of anyone who should be there. That question doesn't get answered because the same man, or someone connected to this location, ends up back on camera again later that same night, this time inside a security room, checking the monitors, clearly shaken by a fresh round of sounds he can't explain. Loud knocking and banging echo from just outside the room, but every camera feed shows nothing. He moves into an adjacent locker room and sets his phone on the floor. Watch closely. If you look closely at the boot, you'll see it moving like someone trying to turn from one direction to another. But the thing is, no one was wearing the boot. Then the doors start opening, locker after locker. A lot of viewers who've watched the full footage describe it as one of the most sustained, escalating sessions of unexplained activity they've ever seen. Not one event, but a cascade that keeps building until it becomes impossible to stay. What would you do? The following footage was captured by the security camera in Jorge Cruz's house. During a quiet night, everything is still for several minutes until this happens. Watch. That chair slides backward and rotates on its own. Smooth, deliberate, covering a foot or two before stopping completely. Then a shadow moves across the room, but there's no one in the room. Some viewers believe it's consistent with a residual presence, something that doesn't know the space is empty and is simply continuing to interact with it. Others aren't convinced and point to the possibility of a wire just outside the camera's frame. Now, Jorge Cruz decides to try something he's been told might help with the activity inside his home, lining the doorway with salt to keep whatever's there from crossing through. He explains the plan directly to the camera, pours a thick, unbroken line across the threshold, then turns the lights off and waits. That cross on the wall flips upside down, not gradually, not with any buildup, just instantly inverted with a heavy thud. And then the salt line, the one Jorge spent time carefully laying down, disappeared, creating a clear gap in the barrier he built. By the end of the footage, the rocking chair in the corner has started moving on its own, slow and steady, with the doll still sitting in it. A lot of viewers in the comments believe Jorge made a critical mistake, not in using the salt, but in announcing it out loud first, essentially telling whatever was there exactly what he was doing and giving it time to respond. Whether the activity that followed was provoked or had already been building to this point, Jorge himself seems to believe the salt didn't stop anything. It only made it worse. Now, if something in that room was willing to scatter a protective barrier and flip across in the same night, the real question isn't whether the salt worked, it's what Jorge does next. The following video was recorded by a woman who owns property in the Appalachian Mountains. 200 acres of dense forest, a gravel driveway, a pond, and, as she would eventually discover, an unmarked cemetery sitting quietly on the land. She'd been checking her security cameras periodically, the way most people do, just to see what passes through. She wasn't looking for anything unusual, but what she found when she reviewed the footage changed the way she thinks about the property entirely. Watch.
When we found out that there was a cemetery on the property, every time I get there, I walk up by myself and I say a prayer. After that, once I came back home and checked the camera, this is what I saw. I wasn't really sure what it was. I'm like, it looks like an old man with like carrying a staff with like a beard or something. And I started digging, and what the theory that I came up with was that it was Saint Michael leading these souls to heaven. It sent it to my mom, and she said, there's more people around him. And then she said, if you look at the very last like second, it like turns as if it's gonna go up that trail. And that's where the cemetery is up that trail. Because originally we thought, okay, this land is haunted for sure. Like, there's some bad stuff on this property. I'm starting to lean away from the property being haunted from something evil to being something that's positive.
What the camera captured was a narrow vertical column of reddish-orange light near the tree line, visible in daylight, standing apart from the surrounding shadows in a way she says she's never seen before or since. She acknowledges it could be a sun glare, but insists the shape was different this time. More structured, more deliberate. After slowing it down and zooming in, she began to see something that resembled a tall figure, possibly with a beard, possibly carrying a staff. She sent it to her mother, who pointed out what she thought were additional shapes surrounding it. Her theory, the one she kept coming back to, was Saint Michael, the archangel traditionally depicted as a guardian of souls, leading the dead. The trail right there in the footage leads directly up to a cemetery on the property, and she says if you watch the very last moment of the clip, the anomaly appears to turn as if moving toward that trail. Whether you think it's a light artifact or something else entirely, the location of it is difficult to dismiss. So what do you think that was? That question only deepened the more she began connecting the other strange events happening on the same property. In the months before she even knew there was a cemetery on her land, a fire broke out near one of the cabins and spread up the hill in a path that no one could fully explain. Take a look.
Really, get out of there. Really, get out of there.
A tree stump in that area kept reigniting on its own, still smoldering more than 12 hours after firefighters had completely extinguished everything else. And then the cabin closest to that spot flooded without any clear cause. She has footage of the water valve taken shortly before the flood, showing it clearly in the closed position, and yet the cabin still filled with water. When her cousin later discovered, almost by accident through a map app on her phone, that there was an unmarked cemetery sitting in that exact location, the precise spot where the fire started, the precise spot in front of the cabin that flooded, the whole sequence stopped feeling like a coincidence. The Appalachian Mountains carry one of the oldest and deepest traditions of land-based folklore in North America, a blend of Scotch, Irish, and Cherokee belief, where the idea that the dead can make themselves known to the living is not treated as superstition, but as fact. Some viewers familiar with that tradition think whatever is buried there was trying to get her attention, using the fire and the flood as signals rather than threats. Others think it's an extraordinary run of coincidence, but the cemetery's real, the water valve footage is real, and the stump was still burning long after it had any reason to be. Then she checked the security camera that covers the long gravel driveway and the yard, and what she found in the still images gave her the clearest picture yet of something that shouldn't be there. Watch closely.
What's that? Anybody with a Ring camera understands that if your camera picks up motion, it starts recording. Otherwise, it just takes a picture every minute. And this was captured in one of the pictures. It didn't record. To get an idea, this is the whole view from that camera. This is the road. This is the driveway. That you can either go up past there or you can come this way. Okay, so there's the driveway road. There's a gate right there. All along here on the other sides of the pond are these huge ditches that if you were to stand in them, they'd be over your head. Okay, so we get a layout. This tree, road, driveway. This is a deer in the same spot. And if you look over there, you can see the camera caught it, and the camera was recording that deer running from over there to over here. Okay, it was going this way. Camera caught it. You can see in the bottom corner, it says motion detected, that deer. Here is where it caught a car. You can see the car at the end of the driveway. See a vehicle. It caught it. It started recording. Caught it. And now here is where you see it just pops up. And then it goes away. I'm scrolling with my finger. Here is where it caught deer at night. In the same spot. The one on the left is in the same spot. At night, it caught it. Now I know what you're saying. Ring cameras capture weird stuff all the time. That's fine. I get it. Like the time I thought I saw a ghost in the yard. Right here. I thought that looked like a person. Not to mention the fact, if this was an actual person on a horse riding up my driveway, even if the camera didn't detect it, it would have still caught an image every so often of it walking up the driveway. There's no way it could have gotten over the gate, and there's no way that it could have gone in the creek to get onto the property. If you understood how deep this creek is, there's no way that horse could have gone down into the creek and then up and out again onto the property. It just doesn't make sense. Side note, we did discover that there is a cemetery located on our property. So many things have happened there that are just unexplainable, and yeah, I'll get into it some other time.
A single still image from the camera shows a pale, amorphous shape near the tree line. Two parts to it, a lower bulky form and a taller, narrower shape above, like something seated on an animal. The camera didn't detect motion and didn't record a clip. It just took its periodic still photograph and caught that shape standing there. And then, the next frame it was gone. Some viewers immediately called it a ghost horse, a term that shows up repeatedly in Appalachian folklore, where the spirits of animals are said to remain tied to land they once worked. Others weren't sure what to call it at all. By the time she came back to review her footage again weeks later, she'd found something new. And this time, the camera itself seemed to be part of the story. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. Watch.
So the footage of my neighbor going to the property, I watched it back after he left, and it sounded like women were yelling at him as he was pulling out of the driveway. So I messaged him and I said, hey, was there anyone yelling at you when you left? And he said, no. I slowed it down. After listening back, it sounds like several people yelling at him.
When she went back to pull the original clip, the footage had changed. The recording that previously showed minute-by-minute markers now displayed a single continuous bar that skipped from 9:30 in the morning directly to 4:30 in the afternoon, the ghost clip sitting right in that missing window, around noon. The data was just gone. And then she found the audio. A recording from the camera picked up two men talking outside. One of them saying goodbye to someone he called Pawpaw before leaving the property. Normal enough, but when she slowed it down, the voice dropped into something low and guttural that didn't sound like a slowed human voice anymore. She's since found death certificates and photographs for what she believes are 5 to 7 people buried on that land. Someone's ancestors, left in an unmarked cemetery that the property's current owners had no idea was there until a fire pointed directly at it. Whatever is on those 200 acres, it doesn't seem to be staying quiet. The following videos were all recorded inside the same home, by the same man, across what appears to be an ongoing series of disturbances. The kind that don't announce themselves all at once, but instead show up night after night, wearing you down slowly. He's been documenting everything, filming on his phone, speaking in Spanish to whoever might be watching later, making sure there's a record. On this particular night, he was eating tacos when the knocking started again, not a casual tap. A persistent, rhythmic knock at the front door. He grabbed his phone mid-meal and started recording, saying quietly to the camera, "They're knocking, and I'm eating my tacos," followed by, "So you can see I'm not telling you lies. Watch." He opens the door to find no one there. The street empty, 2 red cars parked in the distance, nobody on the stoop. But when he turns back inside, something is lying on the tiled floor just inside the threshold. A long, pale, fibrous root-like object, dry and covered in white hair-like tendrils, almost skeletal in appearance. The door had been locked from the inside. That alone is worth sitting with. In many Latin American and Caribbean folk traditions, objects like that, dried roots, herbs, specific plant matter, left at someone's threshold aren't random. They're deliberate. Some call it brujeria, a broad Spanish language term for witchcraft or folk magic used across Mexico and Central America to describe the practice of placing objects with intention, to curse a home, to invite something in, or to mark a person. Whether you believe in that or not, the fact that something passed through a locked door is harder to explain away. That same night, it happened again. The sounds this time were different, not soft knocking, but rapid, sharp snapping, almost mechanical, about 2 per second, filling the room before stopping the moment he touched the locks. Watch. When he opens the door, there's another object on the doormat. A long, dry stick or vine, brittle and light brown, lying across the mat like it had been placed there carefully. 2 different sounds, 2 different objects, the same locked door, the same night. It didn't stop there. Later, he woke up to find the shower running on its own, for the 2nd time. He said so himself on camera. "This is the 2nd time it makes me get up to turn off the shower." He walked to the bathroom in the dark, turned off the water, and stepped back into the hallway. Watch.
Esta es la segunda vez que hace que me levante. No cerro la regadera.
He closes the bathroom door, the house goes quiet and then, from somewhere down that dark hallway, a clear melodic tune begins to play. Simple, repetitive, the kind of sound you'd hear from a baby's mobile or a music box. No source visible, no one else in the hallway. Some viewers pointed out the combination of threshold objects and unseen sounds is consistent with what's sometimes described in folk magic traditions as an attempt to destabilize a household, to unsettle the people inside so something else can settle in. Others think the activity across all 3 clips points to something already present, using the objects as markers and the sounds as signals. But you be the judge. The following video was recorded inside a home that the family moved into not long ago. A deceased estate, meaning the previous owner passed away there, and the house itself still carries whatever that person left behind. Since moving in, their 3-year-old daughter has developed an imaginary friend, which on its own isn't unusual, except for the specific details this little girl has been sharing about who that friend is. Watch. She's seen here playing in the hallway, pushing herself backward in a pink toy stroller across the wooden floors, completely at ease, the way a child acts around someone familiar, someone she's comfortable with. It's ordinary childhood play on the surface. But the mother is the one who framed it, and according to her, what that little girl is doing isn't just playing alone. In clip 2, the mother films herself from the lower level of the house and walks through everything she's been told. Watch.
So I don't know what to do with this information. And she's 3. Like, this is the first time she's ever had an imaginary friend, and you'd think it would be like a fairy unicorn or something, but it's not. It's the most standard middle-aged man, and he sounds like a real dude, and I now think that I have to go back through births, deaths, and marriages and figure out what the name of the guy was that lived here, because if his name is Joe...
The imaginary friend has a name, Joe. He's described not as a fairy or a monster, as most childhood imaginary figures tend to be, but as a perfectly ordinary middle-aged man who likes working on his car, wears a red shirt and black gardening gloves, lives on the property, and has 2 children. And she already knows the family that sold her the house had 2 children. He's also described as having spent a lot of time in hospital, which, if the previous owner died, fits. The woman is genuinely shaken, not performing fear. Her nervous laughter and wide eyes give that away. What makes this harder to dismiss is the specificity. Kids invent imaginary friends all the time, but they tend toward the fantastical. A 3-year-old conjuring a middle-aged man who gardens, drives a car, and matches the known biographical details of the deceased owner is a different category altogether. Some believe young children are more perceptually open than adults, less filtered, less conditioned to dismiss what they sense, and that what looks like imaginative play may actually be something more literal. Others would argue the child absorbed fragments of overheard adult conversations and constructed a figure from them. The mother says she's planning to research the previous owner's name through public records, and if it comes back as Joe, she's made her decision. That question is still unanswered, and it's the one that keeps the story from closing. The following clip was recorded by a group of explorers who decided to enter an abandoned building surrounded by disturbing rumors. Locals claim that people go in and come out completely shaken, some reporting sudden dizziness, intense pressure in their chest, difficulty breathing, and an overwhelming feeling that they weren't welcome there. Others say electronics malfunction, footsteps echo through empty hallways, and objects seem to move on their own. The explorers went in hoping to communicate with whatever might be causing these experiences, but instead of answers, they encountered something that seemed to confirm every story they'd heard. Watch this.
Görüntü gidiyor, var bir şey. Var bir şey var. Görüntü gidiyor. Tamam, buyurun. Biliyorum bir şey var orada. Kafamıza gelecekti Allah aşkına. Dokundu.
At one point, an axe suddenly fell, narrowly missing them. They were incredibly lucky it didn't land on anyone. Incidents like this raise unsettling questions about the kind of presence that could exist in places like this. Some theories suggest these spirits lash out when they feel threatened, disturbed, or when their space is invaded, especially in places tied to trauma, violence, or abandonment. Whatever was inside that building didn't seem interested in communicating. It seemed angry, and that makes this encounter far more dangerous than a typical paranormal investigation. Now, in this next clip, a family has been hearing strange noises coming from their basement. At first, they didn't think much of it since the sounds were faint, irregular, and easy to dismiss, the kind of thing you blame on the house settling or your imagination filling in the gaps. But over the next few weeks, everything changed. The noises started happening more often, they grew louder, and eventually impossible to ignore. Then, one night, while the family was asleep, a sudden, heavy noise from the basement jolted them awake. Instead of staying put, the husband decided to move closer to investigate, and that decision alone sent chills through viewers. Watch closely.
Hello? Oh my god!
After the footage surfaced, opinions were split. Some viewers insist it has to be an animal, something trapped or moving around below. But others aren't convinced. They point out that the footsteps sound human. So if it isn't an animal and it isn't just the house settling, then whatever made that noise was already inside the home, waiting in the darkest part of it. But I'll leave you to be the judge of this one. On the 14th of February, 2014, a man walks into a shop like any other day. Nothing about the moment seems unusual, but what no one inside the store realizes is that something else was inside the shop. Watch closely.
Look right here. Look right here. Right here. Look. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bruh. Look at this. It's there, and now it's not. It's there, and now it's not, bruh. What is that? Bruh. What is that? What is that? And then it's just gone.
The strange figure appears and disappears in a blink, so fast that the man didn't even sense that something was there. If it wasn't for the security camera, this moment would have passed unnoticed forever. Incidents like this raise an unsettling thought. How many things move through our world without us ever knowing? How many figures slip in and out of reality just beyond our perception? Too quick, too subtle, or too unexpected for the human mind to register. And even when footage like this does surface, many people still refuse to believe it. Some call it a glitch, others say it's a shadow, a reflection, or a trick of the camera. So what do you think? Was this an anomaly, or a rare glimpse into something that's always around us, quietly passing through, unseen? In this next video, a woman captured a terrifying figure inside her own home. According to her, it's late at night, and she's replaying voice messages on her phone when an overwhelming feeling hits her, the unmistakable sense that someone is staring at her, not just a thought, not imagination, that deep instinctive awareness you get when eyes are fixed on you. Trusting that feeling, she lifts her phone toward the doorway. This is what she captures. A dark figure appears, peeking from behind the door, its shape just clear enough to suggest a face watching her. What makes this even more unsettling is that this wasn't the first warning sign. Before this moment, she says she'd been experiencing subtle things around the house. Doors left slightly open when she was sure she closed them, the sound of quiet movement at night, and that recurring sensation of being watched when no one else was home. Small things she brushed off at first. Until this. Many people say humans are wired to sense when they're being observed, even without seeing it. And moments like this make you wonder how often that instinct is right. Until she shares more updates, whatever was standing in that doorway, and why it was watching her, remains completely unsolved. Now, in this next clip, a couple shares footage from what was supposed to be a simple cave exploration somewhere in the UK. Nothing paranormal, no ghost hunting, just curiosity and a camera rolling. But like many explorers later admit, the strangest moments aren't always noticed in real time. They're discovered after, while reviewing the footage. Watch and listen closely.
I don't blame them. Imagine how many people you can fit in here.
Because you go in here, look.
How am I going to fit through there? What? Seen all the spiders?
Yeah, have you seen them?
During the exploration, his partner becomes overwhelmed by spiders and quickly exits the cave, clearly shaken. He laughs it off at first, still filming, thinking the danger is gone, but seconds later, his mood changes. He suddenly freezes, then jumps back, reacting to the feeling that something is moving toward him from deeper inside the cave. At the time, he didn't hear anything clearly. It's only after rewatching the footage that they notice the sound at the very end of the video. Some viewers suggest it could have been an animal, even comparing it to a bear-like snarl, possibly disturbed by their presence. But others point out that caves are isolated, ancient, largely untouched, and act as natural amplifiers for phenomena we don't fully understand. In this next video, a family is together, laughing, catching up, and enjoying a quiet moment until something happens. Watch closely. Out of nowhere, the table shifts and the reaction is instant. Everyone runs. Some viewers believe this could be a prank, suggesting someone nearby might have been under the table or pulled the table. But according to locals, this area already has a reputation. Families in the vicinity have complained for years about objects moving on their own, furniture shifting slightly when no one is touching it, and sudden disturbances that happen without warning. That's what makes this moment harder to brush off. When objects move in shared spaces like this, especially during calm moments, many believe it's often the first sign something is trying to make itself known. Whether this was human interference or something far more unsettling, one thing is clear. The moment whatever happened made itself known, no one wanted to stay around long enough to find out what caused it. So what do you think happened here? Speaking of objects moving, the family in this next clip has been struggling with something they can't seem to explain. They'll leave items in one place, chairs pushed under the table, doors fully shut, small objects carefully set down, only to come back later and find everything shifted, rearranged, or completely out of place. At first, they brushed it off as forgetfulness, thinking maybe someone else moved it, or they just remembered wrong, but the patterns kept repeating. Eventually, they decided to document everything. What you're about to see is a compilation of the activity they managed to catch on camera. Watch closely.
Se movió la silla.
¿Real?
Sí.
Corre.
Tipo, es de arquitecta.
Corre.
Se movió.
To some viewers, this points to something trying to interact with the physical space, poltergeist-like behavior that focuses more on movement than appearances. Others believe it could be something residual, replaying energy over and over in the same areas of the house. They've been advised to send the footage to a priest, but until that happens, speculation continues. But what do you think? Is something attached to the house, or something dangerous followed them home? I'd love to know what you think about this kind of activity. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the historic Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater. This time, he heads back up to the top floor, returning to the main theater area to quietly film and listen for anything out of place. Watch closely.
It's like there's somebody up there. What the hell was that? Oh, shh, 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 shh. Oh my god, guys, it literally sounds like she's coming down these stairs. I smell perfume. What the heck? I smell perfume. And it's starting to feel colder in here too. Ma'am, you don't have to be shy. Feel free to come down and talk to me. Madam, what's your name? Oh my God. I heard that. That was a lady's voice. Thank you, Bam. I heard you loud and clear.
As Ian stands alone in the creepy space, he suddenly notices a strong perfume smell beginning to fill the air. What's unsettling is that the scent doesn't fade. It grows stronger, almost as if someone is moving closer to him. Paranormal investigators often associate sudden smells, especially perfume, with spirit presence, particularly when there's no logical source nearby. Moments later, this happened.
Here. Hello? Oh, holy shit! Oh my God! Dude! I just fucking saw her right there! It looked like a woman in a dress. She walked into the hallway. I gotta follow her. She went down this way. Oh my God. Every hair on my body is standing on end. Where'd you go? I saw you go this way. I feel like I heard her say Mabel. It sounded like an M. Now that I think about it, that voice from earlier, it sounded like Mabel. I'm smelling that perfume smell again. Holy shit! Holy shit! No freaking way! Look at that! That thing just came undone!
This is where things take an even stranger turn. Ian believes he may have caught sight of a figure, possibly the infamous woman in white, briefly peeking out from behind the curtain. The combination of the intensifying perfume and the movement near the stage is enough to raise serious questions about what or who might still be lingering inside the theater. So what do you think? Lingering energy, a known spirit, or something else entirely? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured on the night of March 24th, 2026 at exactly 9:35 p.m. by a topo security camera mounted on a quiet rural property, far from busy roads, far from neighbors, far from anything that could easily explain what you're about to see. At first, it looks ordinary. The night is calm and nothing feels out of place, then the door moves. But that's not the part that unsettles people the most. look closer at the window. For a brief moment, so quick you might miss it, a figure passes by, and here's where things start to feel wrong. Because whatever moved that door, whatever walked past that window, it doesn't behave like something bound by the same rules we are, and it raises a question that's hard to shake. What if there are things that move through our world freely, unseen most of the time, only revealing themselves in fragments like this? Not trapped, not tied to a place, just passing through. And if that's true, how often do they walk through spaces we think are empty? In this next clip, the footage comes from a security camera mounted inside what appears to be a workshop filled with tools, tables, and storage equipment. The kind of place that usually sits in complete stillness for hours. No movement, no activity, and no reason for anything to shift on its own. The timestamp reads 3:45 in the morning on March 10th, a time when everything, especially in a place like this, should be completely silent. But it isn't. Something is clearly disturbing the space, but nothing is visible. And then, a shadow moves. Some viewers believe a small animal could explain the initial movement, but if that were the case, you'd expect some kind of chain reaction. Other objects shifting, something knocking over, a visible trace of movement. But the room stays unnaturally contained. Others believe the location itself might play a role. The clip is said to be from Finkroken Brygge, a quiet coastal area in northern Norway. Isolated, surrounded by cold waters and long stretches of darkness during certain times of the year. Places like this have a long history of folklore tied to the unseen. In old Scandinavian stories, coastal buildings, boathouses especially, were believed to attract Vadir, nature-bound spirits said to inhabit land, water, and man-made spaces. They weren't always hostile, but they were territorial, known to move objects, create sounds, and make their presence known when disturbed or ignored. So when you watch that shadow move, is it something passing through, something tied to that location, or something that never really left? You decide. Now, in this next clip, someone filmed this from outside a property during the day, shooting handheld through a metal fence toward a backyard. The weather was overcast, the footage is low resolution and shaky, and at first glance, there's nothing obviously wrong. Just a yard, a tree, a white-framed enclosure in the background, birds chirping steadily throughout. But then you notice something. Watch. The footage is said to have been captured near an elementary school in San Antonio, an area with a long, layered history. San Antonio is known for its deep cultural roots, but also for its share of paranormal stories. From reports around the famous ghost tracks, where people claim unseen forces move cars, to accounts of shadow figures seen near older buildings and school grounds. So when you see that movement in the corner, is it just a stray animal or something else? You decide what it is. This next video was recorded at night inside what appears to be a home, and whoever was holding the camera seemed to believe they'd caught something outside that couldn't easily be explained. There's no dramatic build-up here, no warning, just a camera pointed at a narrow window in a quiet room, a low mechanical hum filling the silence, and something on the other side of the glass that stopped them cold. Watch. Through the window, something absolutely strange appears. It doesn't move, it doesn't shift, and that stillness, for a lot of viewers, is exactly what makes it hard to dismiss. Some think it's a reflection of something inside the room caught in the glass, while others believe the shape is genuinely outside. A figure standing in the dark, watching. The person filming clearly didn't feel comfortable going closer to find out. Then, instead of stepping away, they turn the camera toward the inside of the room to see if there's any other thing around. Watch. Some viewers think spaces like this, dense with old objects and figurines, can act almost like an anchor for residual energy, trapping impressions from past owners or from the figures themselves if they carry any kind of history. Others see the footage and think the unease is entirely psychological, and after a shape in the window and a room that looks like this, you have to wonder what it actually feels like to spend a night there. What else did you see in the video? Now in this next clip, a young boy is being filmed in his family's living room during the daytime. Nothing about the setting feels unusual. The TV is off, and the house is quiet in that calm, mid-morning way. Earlier that day, according to the mother, her son had been complaining about a missing toy. Nothing strange, just the usual back and forth of a child insisting something had been there before. At one point, he even mentioned hearing something in the house the night before, but it was brushed off. Kids imagine things. That's normal. So that morning, she casually pulls out her phone and starts recording him while he searches around the living room, half amused, half trying to capture a cute moment. At first, everything feels light. He moves from one spot to another, checking under cushions, behind furniture. Then, this happened. As the boy searches around, a very unsettling sound is heard. It doesn't sound like anything in the house, not a chair scraping, not a pet, not a voice you can easily place. It's closer to a growl, but even that doesn't fully capture it. For a split second, the entire energy of the room shifts, and then it's gone. Moments like this tend to divide people. Some say it's just audio distortion, maybe something outside, maybe the microphone picking up a sound and warping it. Others suggest it could be something completely explainable that just sounds worse than it is. But then there's the other side. In many traditions, there are stories of entities that don't appear visually at first, but make themselves known through sound. Not full voices, not clear words, just low, unnatural tones, growls, murmurs, vibrations. So when you hear that sound, was it just a random noise caught at the wrong moment, or was it something in that room, making itself known? You be the judge. In this next clip, a young girl is sitting in her car seat during the day, happily snacking, crumbs everywhere, completely unbothered, the kind of ordinary moment parents capture all the time. She's chewing, looking toward the camera, and everything about the scene feels completely routine. Then something changes. Watch. In a split second, her snack shifts unnaturally. Not slipping, not falling, but moving in a way that suggests it was taken, as if something unseen reached out and pulled it directly from her hand. The motion isn't loose or accidental, it has direction, intent, and timing that feels disturbingly precise, especially considering there is nothing visible around her that could have caused it. When an unseen force interacts physically in such a direct way, especially with a child, it can be a form of testing boundaries, small actions that escalate over time if not acknowledged or addressed. In certain African and Asian folklore, similar encounters are sometimes linked to mischievous or even malevolent spirits that engage in minor acts first, taking small objects, creating confusion, before progressing into more noticeable disturbances. So now, the question isn't just what took the snack, but how long it's been there, close enough to reach out and touch without ever being noticed. This next clip comes from a family living in a home that once belonged to someone who recently passed away, a detail that already adds weight to what was captured, especially in places where people believe that death doesn't always mean departure, at least not immediately. At the time this happened, the mother was away for a few days, leaving her son and the rest of the household behind. The night quiet, everyone else already in bed and asleep. The kind of stillness where even the smallest sound becomes noticeable. Her son was sitting alone in front of the wood stove, warming up. The room dim, the atmosphere calm, nothing out of place, nothing suggesting that anything unusual was about to happen. And then he heard something. Listen closely. A woman's voice softly saying, "Hey," not distorted, not distant, but close enough to feel like it came from inside the room, directed, intentional, as if it was meant for him to hear it. In certain traditions, it is believed that when someone passes away, their presence can linger for a period of time, particularly in places they were deeply connected to. Not always in a harmful way, but sometimes in a state of transition, where they are still aware of their surroundings and occasionally attempt to interact. These interactions are often subtle at first, a voice, a movement, a sound meant to be noticed but not understood. But there are also more unsettling interpretations. Some believe that not every voice heard in these situations belongs to who people think it does. There are entities known for mimicking human voices, using simple, familiar words like "hey" or calling out softly to draw attention, to test whether they are being heard, and in some cases, to invite a response. These are often described as deceptive presences, ones that do not reveal themselves fully, but instead begin with something small, something harmless sounding, before escalating over time. So, what do you think was in there with him? The following video was captured by a man named Vishite, who says his workplace hasn't felt normal for a long time. What started as small, explainable things slowly turned into something he couldn't ignore. He began noticing shadows moving where nothing should be moving. Then came the physical encounters, scratches appearing on his skin while he was alone, the feeling of being pushed when no one was behind him. For a few weeks now, he has started hearing voices and seeing shadows move where nothing should be. Watch this.
And I'm gonna go outside. Hey. I'm here. Nobody's in this back room, in the cave. And I'm closing up and I heard this. Nobody's in. See the cameras. Nobody's up in there. I think this door, the last time, there's nobody up in here. Nobody.
Many believe this could be a mimic, something repeating his own voice back to him. Others focused on the shadow that appeared, suggesting something was physically there. Some even warned that entities known for mimicry often start with simple words, testing reactions, learning behavior, and getting closer over time. But things didn't stop there. When he posted another video, the situation became harder to explain. Watch.
Hey guys, so look, I'm hearing voices again. Yo, y'all heard that, right? Yo, man, I'm freaking out. Hello? Oh, no. No. That sounded like it was literally in my ear, dude. See, look, nobody is here. Nobody's here. Oh my god, dude, it sounded like something was behind me. Hello? Okay, I'm done with this. You need to leave. Oh my, dude, you guys hear that, right? You guys hear it? I'm not tripping.
This time, the voice isn't subtle, it's aggressive. Words like die and you're dead are heard clearly enough to make out. Some viewers went further, suggesting it could be something far more dangerous, something like a skinwalker or even a demonic presence, especially considering his earlier experiences with being physically touched and scratched. Because when something is able to move objects, speak, and make physical contact, it suggests a level of strength and control that goes beyond imagination.
Oh, nope, I just got touched. Nope. Okay, so I'm here at work. Bro, I'm telling you, you heard that, right? I'm closing. And I'm like hearing stuff, bruh. I'm like closing right now, and I'm hearing, bruh, come on, man. Nobody's in here. I'm literally closing. Yo. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's been like really active here lately. Just wanted to show you guys. There's nobody in the store but me.
Moments like this are deeply unsettling. Imagine standing alone in a quiet building, already on edge, and suddenly feeling something touch you. Not imagining it or thinking it happened, but actually feeling it. Your brain immediately tries to rationalize it. Maybe it was your clothing, maybe your nerves. But deep down, you know when something touches you. And when it keeps happening, it changes how you exist in that space. Every corner becomes suspicious, and every shadow feels closer than it should be. At this point, viewers began warning him about something else: attention. Many believe that reacting emotionally, showing fear, or constantly focusing on whatever is happening can strengthen its presence. Some even say that fear itself can act like an invitation. But when you're alone and something speaks to you, touches you, and follows you, is staying calm even possible? Well, for Vicente, it's hard to just ignore it. After days of having the same thing happen to him at work, people advised him to confront it, and here's how that went.
Leave. Oh, go. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out of here. Oh. Leave. Shh. Ooh, dude, I'm hearing shit. No. Okay, you just go. Just get out. Leave. Oh, God damn it. Dude, I got touched by that thing. I'm just letting you go. There's nobody in this store. See, I'm doing what you guys want, and then I'm hearing there's shit going on everywhere, dude. Man. Leave. You need to leave.
As he tells whatever's there to leave, something suddenly pushes him, and if something can touch you, it can reach you anytime it wants. Visite later revealed something even more unsettling. Other employees had experienced strange things too, hearing voices and feeling watched, but not as often as he has. Almost like whatever is there chose him specifically. A few weeks after his last post, things got worse.
I'm trying to lay down, and these damn lights won't stop going on and off. And I'm the only one here currently, and all my damn cabinets are open. And my remote for the lights are over there. And they just won't turn off. Yo, what the f is that?
Now, it wasn't just his workplace anymore. Cabinets he clearly remembered closing would be open, lights he turned off would turn back on, and he began hearing the same kinds of sounds inside his own home, the same presence, and the same feeling of not being alone. Many believe this could be attachment, when something connects itself to a person rather than a place. Others believe that by documenting it, speaking to it, and confronting it, he may have made himself more visible to it, reinforcing whatever connection had already begun. Because sometimes the moment something realizes you can hear it is the moment it stops hiding and starts getting closer. So what do you think Visite is really dealing with? And once something starts interacting with you like this, is it already too late to make it stop? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In this next clip, Nate is still trying to understand what's happening inside his house, and at this point, it's no longer just the occasional strange moment. For weeks now, he's been hearing footsteps when no one else is home. Heavy walking sounds moving from one room to another, doors creaking open slowly, and sometimes even faint whispers late at night when the entire house should be silent. He's woken up to things in different positions than he left them, and there are moments when his dog refuses to enter certain parts of the house, staring into empty space like it sees something he can't. You know how terrifying it is to feel like your home, the one place that's supposed to be safe, is no longer fully yours. That's exactly how Nate feels. Watch this.
I'm literally hearing walking, like right next to me, and swore I heard a muffled voice. It was like I hope the camera's picking that up. I hope my phone is picking that up. What is that?
What you're hearing doesn't sound like the house settling. It sounds like something running back and forth with muffled voices, low, unclear, but definitely there. Some believe this could be what's known as a residual haunting, energy repeating the same actions over and over, but others believe it's something far more dangerous. The disturbing part is, it didn't stop. The stomping and pacing continued for weeks. Then one morning, while Nate was working out, he heard something else.
Hey guys. I'm hoping the phone picks this up. I was working out in here stomping. Right above me. Right above me is my bedroom. I really hope the phone is picking that up. It was so loud that I actually dropped the weight. God, I hope it's picking that up. Oh my God. What is that? I'm shaking right now. Oh, what the?
Toward the end of the video, a voice can be heard saying, "You need me." Some believe statements like that suggest attachment, when whatever is present no longer sees itself as separate from the person, but connected to them, dependent on them, or worse, believing the person belongs to it. And what makes that idea so disturbing is what it implies. If it's attached to him, moving might not solve anything, distance might not matter because it wouldn't be staying in the house, it would be staying with him. Entities like this sometimes create dependency. They observe, they wait, and eventually they make their presence known in a way that makes the person feel chosen, not for comfort, but for control. And now, for the first time, Nate is seriously considering leaving his home. But after hearing those words, he's no longer sure if leaving is the right thing to do, because if something inside his house truly believes he needs it, it may never let him go. If you were in Nate's position, would you stay and try to understand it, or leave, knowing it might follow? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared and talked about locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail, hoping to finally understand why so many unexplained incidents are still being reported there. This isn't just another abandoned building, this jail has a long and disturbing history, and many who've entered its lower levels say the basement feels different from the rest of the structure. Heavier, oppressive, like something is still occupying that space. But what makes this visit different is the specific reason Ian went down there. For years, people have reported sightings of what they describe as a little person moving in the basement. Not a shadow, not a vague shape, but something physical, small, and fast. Some believe it's the spirit of a former inmate trapped and unable to leave, but others strongly disagree. They claim what's down there isn't paranormal at all. They believe it's something alive that hides and watches. Watch.
Is there anybody down here? Well, they say that this hole is a portal that spirits can enter. If this is indeed a portal to the spirit world, could you come up out of that hole? Float upward towards me. Little person? Are you down here? Are there any prisoners down here? This is where they kept the worst of the worst. Bro.
After hearing that sound, Ian immediately freezes. It isn't the kind of noise old buildings usually make, and it doesn't sound like wood settling or pipes shifting. He stands there, listening carefully, trying to determine where it came from, but the silence that follows is almost worse. Going down there alone didn't sound like a good idea, especially knowing the stories. So instead, Ian decided to wait, hoping to catch even the slightest movement that could explain what he just heard. And then, after a while, he sees this.
Whoa, 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 what did I just see? What did I just see? I just seen something on the ground. Holy crap. It didn't look like a person though.
For a brief moment, something appears small and low to the ground. It moves quickly enough to avoid being clearly identified. But it's there, and it wasn't his imagination. Some viewers believe this could be the little person witnesses have been describing for years, a spirit manifesting in physical form. Others believe something far more disturbing, that there may actually be a living presence hiding beneath the jail, something that has adapted to the darkness, something that knows how to avoid being seen. At this point, Ian has a choice. He can leave knowing he's already captured something unexplained, or he can go further into the one place everyone warned him about. But Ian didn't come all this way to turn back now. Determined to finally uncover the truth, he slowly makes his way deeper into the basement, stepping toward the exact area where the figure had appeared only moments earlier, his light scanning the darkness while the silence around him feels heavier than before, like something is waiting for him to make the next move. Watch.
Oh god. Oh my god. It is so scary down here. Oh. I don't see anything over here. Creepy crawl space. I am not going in there. No. The person. Are you in there? Oh, dude, what if it snatches my arm? I hear you. He's gotta be down here. Oh. Just got thrown at me.
Suddenly, rocks are thrown in his direction, and the timing makes it impossible to ignore because it happens right as he gets closer, almost like a direct response to his presence, like a warning meant to stop him from going any further. And that realization alone is enough to make him think that he may not be alone in that basement after all. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following video, a man starts walking around his house carefully from room to room, checking doors, pausing at corners, clearly on edge after hearing what sounded like someone moving inside his home when he knew he was supposed to be alone. Watch.
Hello?
For a brief second, a dark figure peeks into view, not fully stepping out, not revealing itself completely, just enough to be seen, just enough to confirm that something is there. And then, seconds later, a loud, deafening scream. Viewers who watched the clip were quick to point out that when whatever you're dealing with moves from subtle signs to something this aggressive, something that not only shows itself but also vocalizes like that, it's no longer something to ignore. And it's definitely something that requires protection. not curiosity. What makes this even more unsettling is that, according to him, he had already tried saging the house, a method often used in an attempt to cleanse a space or remove negative energy, and it didn't work, which, for many people who believe in these practices, suggests that whatever is there isn't easily affected or removed. And that raises a bigger concern, because if it's not responding to attempts to get rid of it, and it's bold enough to show itself and scream like that, then it might not be trying to leave at all. So, what do you think was really waiting down there? In this next clip, a woman is simply taking her dog, Luna, for a walk through a cemetery one afternoon, the kind of quiet, routine outing that shouldn't feel threatening in any way, especially in broad daylight when everything appears still and undisturbed. At first, Luna moves normally along the path, sniffing around, calm, behaving exactly the way you'd expect. But then, something changes. Watch.
What is it, Luna? Luna, come here, babes, come here. What's wrong? What's wrong? Luna? What's wrong?
Luna begins whining, not playfully, not out of excitement, but in a way that sounds distressed, almost fearful, her body tensing as she starts pulling erratically on the leash, trying to move away from a specific spot as if something there is making her deeply uncomfortable. Many believe that in places tied to death, animals can sometimes sense what shouldn't be active anymore. Not just presence, but unrest, even suffering. There are darker interpretations that suggest dogs can react to what some describe as echoes of punishment, lingering energy tied to people who never truly found peace, as if something beneath the ground isn't silent at all. The idea that a dog could be hearing something like distant screaming, something buried, something trapped, is exactly the kind of thought that makes moments like this hard to shake. Now in this next clip, a young boy named Christian has been having experiences that, at first, seemed harmless, even innocent, but over time started to raise serious concern for the people around him. According to his family, he would often be seen laughing to himself, staring into empty spaces, reaching out like he was interacting with someone who wasn't physically there, and even moving from room to room as if he was following or being led by something unseen. There were moments where he would pause mid-play, look toward a corner, and react like someone had just said or done something to him. At first, it was brushed off as imagination, but then they recorded this. Watch.
What the hell do he see? What do he see? Watch this, y'all. What the hell is he running from? Oh my God, look! The hell is he running from?
She would kill me if she knew I was talking to you. I'm here because I love her. And yes, maybe in your mind, she messed up.
Come here. What the hell is going on in my house? I'm getting ready to get a Christian. What is going on? Who is here?
In the video, Christian is clearly engaged with something, laughing, responding, going back and forth like he's playing a game with someone right in front of him, someone only he can see. When the video was shared, a medium came across it and gave a very specific interpretation, saying there was a grandmother figure present, someone older, playful, making funny faces and gestures to entertain him, which is why he kept laughing and returning to the same spot. But what made this even more unsettling was the response from the family, because according to them, the boy's aunt had recently passed, and that would make her his great-grandmother. For many, that detail felt too specific to ignore, especially coming from someone the family had never met. But not everyone saw it that way. In fact, a large number of people in the comments had a completely different and far more disturbing interpretation. They warned that what he was interacting with might not be a family member at all, but something deceptive and potentially dangerous. Some even went as far as calling it a demonic presence, pointing out that in many belief systems, once a person dies, they do not return to interact with the living in this way, meaning anything that appears to be them could be something pretending, something unclean, something with a different intention entirely. So now the situation shifts from curiosity to concern, and now she has just one question. How does she get rid of it? I'll leave this one to you. In this next video, a guy named Jorge gets a call from the artist who tattooed him, and it's not for a casual check-in or to talk about new work, it's because something is going seriously wrong inside his shop. And according to him, it all started right after he did one particular tattoo for Jorge. Watch.
A while ago, Garrett had tattooed me. Obviously, you guys already know. One of them was this right here. Some of you might not know, but it's actually a Lucifer sigil symbol. He said that ever since that, that tattooed activities has been happening in his shops. He did mention that his drill went off for no reason, like his drill that he used to drill stuff, and there's been stuff falling on his other shop. There has been activity, so I told him I will try to do whatever I can. Somehow I'm gonna have to fix this. So I'm actually on my way to his house right now. I'm sorry, not his house, his shop that looks like a house.
At first, the disturbances were subtle, lights flickering without warning, strange noises echoing through the shop after closing hours, objects not exactly where they were left, small things that could easily be brushed off. But over time, the entire place began to feel heavy, like something had settled in. So one night, Jorge decides to go there himself, carefully walking through the shop, scanning every corner. Not just out of curiosity, but because he knows what this kind of activity can turn into. And there's a reason for that. Some of you might recognize Jorge from previous videos, but if you don't, he's been dealing with one of the most intense cases of paranormal activity we've covered, to the point where it escalated so badly his entire family had to leave their home. He's experienced shadow figures, constant disturbances, violent nightmares, and even moments where he appeared to be possessed, with no memory of what happened during those episodes. So when you factor that in, it raises a serious question. Why would someone already dealing with something like that go ahead and get a tattoo, especially one that might carry unknown symbolism or meaning? Some viewers believe that decision may not have been entirely his own, suggesting he could have been influenced, subtly pushed by whatever has been attached to him, leading him into situations that allow it to spread or anchor itself further. When Jorge arrives at the shop, he begins looking around carefully to know if something followed him there or he wasn't the cause at all. Watch.
This is the kind of reasons I think these gets attached, because there's a lot of demonic stuff in here. Look at the sign that says tattoo, but look what it's got on the bottom. It's got a whole demon. So check this out. Here, he's got these crucifix and all that stuff, and I don't know what the hell is this. He's got some animals in here. I hope that does not turn around, because if it goes around, I'm most likely gonna have a breakdown. Garrett did show me a video, and there was an actual orb that came out of this mirror, which I'm gonna be posting that soon. I'm a little nervous, guys. I'm a little nervous, but I'm gonna start the process. But I told him I will try my best to try to solve this and try to communicate. But if not, then I guess we're gonna have to skedaddle. Love you guys, and let's start this.
The things he finds inside the shop itself raises questions. A neon sign shaped like a downward pointing arrow with a grinning demon face at its tip. Jars of preserved animal specimens sitting openly on display. A golden skull placed beside a crucifix, and a large mirror reflecting the entire space back at him. Individually, these might seem like aesthetic choices, but together, they tell a different story. And that's where the situation splits into two disturbing possibilities. Either Jorge didn't bring anything into the shop at all, and his presence simply triggered something that was already tied to those objects, something demonic that had been dormant, waiting for the right moment to become active. Or he did bring something with him, and everything inside that shop, the symbols, the objects, the atmosphere, acted as a kind of landing ground, something for that presence to attach itself to spread, to manifest more freely. Watch this.
How are you?
What's up, brother?
How you doing? So you reached out to me?
Yeah, man, I was calling, first of all, check up on that tattoo I did, and then second, to just kind of let you know,
curious on what it was. Things have been happening, so.
Oh, I was on Lucifer Social Syndrome.
Lucifer?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't thought you were that problem, but.
Come on, man. Dude, ever since I did that, this really weird shit's been.
Oh.
Weird shit's been.
Oh.
You see what I'm talking about, man?
Okay, I could definitely fix that. That was probably I could probably review my cameras, but I probably
Fix what? What do you mean fix that? What is that?
Is that been happening lately or?
Yeah, things like that have been happening, but I didn't like. What is fix that?
Yeah. So do you what other stuff that you have experienced so far?
In here?
Yeah, in here, there, anywhere.
Man,
in the house.
Drills been turning on, pictures been falling on the walls. My other location, you hear like pounding in the vents. You hear like nails, almost like dogs' nails scratching on the floor. Bats will be flying in there, and we have to get them out.
Is it okay if I like maybe stay one night or something? Maybe I can probably figure something out.
Yeah, you can. I do have a tenant that lives downstairs, but I'm sure he won't mind.
I can't guarantee you that I might get everything out, but I could definitely work something because I bring trying to deal with stuff in my house. But
I'm gonna let you do whatever you do because I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, I mean that's between you and that. I just like to keep believing that that stuff is kind of.
A doll moves on the table, then a roll of paper towel drops on its own. Whatever the explanation is, whether this started with Jorge or was already waiting inside that shop, the pattern is hard to ignore. Because Garrett's list of disturbances all began after that one tattoo. But you be the judge. Now, in this next clip, a man is alone in his apartment late at night on October 7th of 2020, doing something as ordinary as working out with dumbbells in his living room, when a security camera catches something that goes from unsettling to genuinely terrifying in under a minute. For weeks before this, he'd been noticing things he couldn't quite explain around the apartment, but according to him, everything changed after he pulled a voodoo doll out of a nearby river. What that doll was doing there and who it belonged to, he never found out. But shortly after bringing it near his home, the activity started. Watch.
Hello?
First, it's the door, a loud, heavy wooden creak that stops him mid-rep. Then, the magazine on the coffee table slides on its own, the pumpkin falls, and a doll falls. Some viewers familiar with voodoo and Haitian Vodou traditions believe that objects tied to those practices can act as anchors for spirits, and that removing one from where it was placed, especially from a body of water where offerings are sometimes deliberately left, can disturb whatever was meant to stay with it. So, what exactly followed him home from that river? You tell me. This next clip comes from a home security camera filmed late at night, capturing footage that a husband says shows his wife sleepwalking, something she has reportedly done before, but never like this. The camera is mounted high in the corner, giving a clear view of both the dining area and the living room beyond it, and what unfolds over the next minute and a half is the kind of footage that leaves more questions than answers. According to him, she had absolutely no memory of any of it the next morning. Watch. Chairs start moving on their own, without anyone touching them. Then something appears to crawl up onto the table toward her. Moments later, a door slams shut, but what really unsettled viewers wasn't just the movement of objects. It was the shadow moving around the room before she even sat down, and then lingering, shifting, almost circling her while she remained in that state, completely unaware of what's happening around her. Some viewers believe this goes beyond sleepwalking entirely, suggesting the possibility of a spiritual or even demonic presence interacting with her, or worse, using that state, that moment where she's not fully conscious, as an opening. And the situation becomes even more serious when you consider one detail people couldn't ignore. She's with child. That alone changed the tone of the entire conversation, with many viewers urging them to leave immediately. In the following video, a guy is making a quick video to show his sister's fiance just how creepy the crematorium where he works can get after hours. What starts as a casual walkthrough quickly turns into something far more disturbing. Watch this.
Lights, they turn off automatically at a certain hour. And I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna walk you through and I have a friend that works that he would see and hear things coming from these furnaces when they're burning the bodies. So when I'm walking through here, they usually put the urns out to send to the families. So when I'm walking here at night, I walk right by these urns that they put on these tables here. And then I come down, freaking out. Crazy.
Now, crematoriums already carry a heavy atmosphere. The energy there is said to linger, trapped between the living and the dead. Some even believe places like this can absorb emotions, grief, pain, fear, and release them in strange ways. Others think the constant contact with the deceased could make it easier for spirits to attach themselves to the living, especially workers who spend long nights alone. Now, back to the guy in this video. He's convinced there's a ghost haunting this crematorium, and until someone gives him a better explanation for what he saw, he's not budging from that theory. So what do you think? paranormal encounter, or something else. You decide. Now, this next video was captured at around 3:15 in the morning, and after what happened, there was no way the guy could go back to sleep. Watch this.
Estaba por entrar a mi casa, son 3:15 de la mañana, y la luz empieza a ser así, no sé. Sinceramente siento que hay alguien acá. No sé por qué lo presiento. Si te querés mostrar, mostrate ahora. Hay alguien sentado ahí. Hay alguien sentado. Mostrate.
Only people who've woken up to the sound of something unexplainable can truly relate to the kind of terror this brings. That feeling of being watched, of knowing you're not alone. And for this guy, it's not a one-time event. Strange things keep happening in his home, often at the same exact hour, like something's deliberately choosing that time to make itself known. But many who followed his story were relieved to find out it wasn't the teddy this time. The same teddy that's moved on its own in several of his earlier videos. But that only made people wonder, what if it was never the teddy? What if whatever's in his home simply uses different objects to get his attention? Or worse, to toy with him? Some say he's dealing with a spirit that feeds off fear, while others think something darker might be attached to the house itself. Until he shares another update, what's really tormenting him remains a mystery. In the following clip, a woman named Jess shares a chilling story, one that's been haunting her for over a decade. Jess lost a close friend named Derek 13 years ago, and ever since then, he's never really left. No matter where she moves, strange things follow. Lights flickering, footsteps in empty rooms, objects shifting on their own. And in her new home, one she moved into just a few months ago, it seems Derek has somehow found her again. Watch this.
Mary, what? He's doing it again. He's doing it again. Mary, he's doing it again. Derek! Hey, Derek! I know you're you, dude. Derek! Derek! I'm talking to you, man. Stop f***ing me, dude. Calm down, Jessica. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. It's just Derek. It's just Derek. Hey, Derek. Hey, Derek. What you doing, buddy? I miss you. Derek. What are you doing, buddy? You know I love you. You know I love you. Hey, Derek. Come on, you dumb... What the f...
Now, a lot of people believe Jess might be unknowingly holding on to something that once belonged to Derek, something personal that's keeping his spirit tethered to her. Others think Derek could be trying to communicate, perhaps trying to deliver a message she's missed for over 13 years, something that, once understood, might finally allow him to move on. But not everyone agrees. Some say she's making a dangerous mistake, that what she's experiencing isn't Derek at all, but something pretending to be him, using her grief to gain her trust. A few even suggested she check her attic, where energies tend to gather in old houses, and when she finally did, this is what she found.
Y'all wanted me to come up to the attic, okay? This is the wall that y'all saw some shit on. And these are the stairs. Like, my husband has all his clothes, of course. But if you look up there, there's no windows. I'm not going all the way up there because it scares the shit out of me. There's no windows. There's a sofa, some mirrors, a chair, his clothes, but there's no windows up here, okay? There's nothing up here that would have done anything. See? No window. No window. No windows. Nothing. Absolutely nothing up here. Other than like his toolboxes and a chair. I'm not going up here because it's too scary for me. But there are some mirrors, which is weird for an attic. A fan. See, there's no windows. This is my attic. There's nothing up here that could have done that shit. Alright, I'm getting the out of here because it feels weird.
So, is Jess truly being visited by the spirit of her old friend? Or something else wearing his face to keep her believing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one.